Many conservatives are going to take issue with the way that I've divided up the political approaches. In particular, they're going to take issue with the way I presented liberty in one's personal life as a simple yes and no. They would also say the same thing about liberty in economic affairs. What do I mean by this? Well, for a lot of conservatives, it's not just a matter of individual freedom versus government control. Right? It's a more complicated question about liberty and authority. Right? In particular, many conservatives want to differentiate between control by the national government, the state government, the city, or the family. And they'll argue that there needs to be a complex interaction between the different kinds of authority, right, and the individual. For example, let's say that there is a city that wants to establish some kind of dress code. Right? For example, there's a city near me that prohibited certain forms of dress that they associated with gangs or with irresponsibility or whatever it was. For example, I think there was a restriction on sort of pants that went down too far in the back. Well, conservatives are going to say this. All right, well, it's nice to talk in terms of liberty, right? But when the government comes in and says, no, you can't put restrictions on how people can dress, right? Well, it looks like the government's preserving liberty, but wait a minute. What about the liberty of if there's 99 people in a town and 2 of them want to dress a certain way and it deeply offends the other 97? They'll say, but what about the ability of the 97 to control their lives? So they don't see it as simply a matter of individual liberty versus not having individual liberty. Right? They see it as a complex interaction between different levels of government, private associations, etc. And they'll argue that to really have liberty, right, we're going to have to approach it in this more complex way. It's not just about the ability of individuals to do what they choose. Right? It's also about the ability of local government, private associations, etc., to exercise some kind of authority over their members. So conservatives will often say, look, saying that we're against personal liberty is an oversimplification. That's not how we understand things. We see these issues as more complicated. And in many cases, they'll say the same thing about the economic sphere. They're not simply in favor of private property or complete economic freedom. They may be more suspicious of government intervention than a lot of people that would be classified as liberal. At the same time, they will make distinctions such as how much control the centralized government should have versus how much ability a neighborhood or a city should have to regulate these matters.